Welcome to The Finder of Lost Things, exploring your superpowers of trust, healing, and transformation, with me, Hannah Belton. My brother, Christian, disappeared in Mali, Africa in 2003. He disappeared without a trace. We lost his story, we didn't have closure, we lost so much. I was fighting and searching to find Christian when actually I just needed to sit in stillness and attract him in. I was so resistant to doing this, but I had to surrender. It's a process of trusting and finding the lost pieces and integrating them. This podcast will uncover the process that Christian and I went on to find the lost things, him, and to find the parts of me that were missing.
And we were destined from the start to tell our story into the dark, for we were born to a great white shark.
Hello everybody. Hi, welcome, come on in, sit round in a circle as usual. This week we have a fire in the middle of our circle, and I hope as you go through the episode it will become clear. We're going to be talking about, well, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be talking about this week. I have very little, in fact, totally non-existent guidance, really. So we'll see what's going to happen. But a few things have come up today. So yesterday we had a really busy day in our village, and we had our garden was open as part of a garden trail in the village, and we must have had like in the high hundreds. I mean, it wouldn't be far-fetched to think I had 1,000 people through our garden yesterday. We had amazing weather in the UK, and I think people have been so stuck inside with COVID and not being able to visit anywhere, but we obviously had this village was full of open gardens, so everybody descended, and it had been really well advertised as well. And for anybody who knows me, I'm not a natural extrovert, so talking and being the gardener in the garden was quite heavy for me yesterday, and just the number of people that came in was overwhelming, to be honest. So today, or last night and today, I've literally been sort of comatose, and I fell asleep up on the sofas on our lawn at the end. And yeah, so I really have been kept in the dark this week about what's going to go on. The only thing I can think of is when I talk about the fire, we have summer solstice coming, the longest day we have in the Northern Hemisphere. We have that on, I think it's on Sunday, so it's coming up. So it's before I next see you, we'll have had the summer solstice. And obviously that's a really energizing time. The sun is at its strongest, and it's there for the longest time, so it's a real time for us to get energy from a sort of outside source as well. The fire, I'm going to be around a fire actually with Nikki Sheffras, who you met in, I can't remember which episode it was, but the beautiful Nikki, so I'll be around a fire with her. And fire, I'm being reminded today actually, is fire is where all stories start. Now I'm going to tell this story now. Actually, there is one story I'm going to tell. I was looking through Facebook today, and I follow a gentleman called Michael Asher, who spent a lot of time with nomads in the desert. And he was telling a story today about how the wide-ear fox stole fire. And I will précis it in a minute. But I think what needs to come from this, I was telling last episode about my name, which is the Finder of Lost Things, and how I received that on a Cornish cliff top. And I also talked you through my relationship with Isis, my goddess guide, And I talked you through me being an eagle. I talked you through my higher perspective. Christian is joining me again this week. He's going to be giving me guidance because I still don't really know where this is going. But I think me coming out as what I am and truthfully telling the stories that I didn't think I was actually going to tell you has actually triggered something. It's triggered an influx of people into my life, beautiful people who I'm going to be working with. It has, so many people have sort of said to me, oh wow, you're on fire now. That was a comment somebody gave me today, actually, which was very beautiful. And that sort of being energized about actually being your truthful self and your true identity. And I think we all have, we're particularly people who, like myself, are the healers, the witches, the ones who the patriarchy try and keep down and have kept down. You know, there's a lot of fear around using our true identities, and we have forgotten, consciously forgotten, I think, on a large scale, because fear rules. I'm being told, like, fear rules our mind when we're thinking about our true identity. It's like we don't really want to be seen for who we are. And because this is, you know, in our past lives, perhaps we've experienced, like I did in my past lives, you know, I experienced a time when I was completely shut down for doing what I did. And it was a scary time. I was living in fear. It was pure fear of abandonment as well. And also you have the family, what they think about it, society, culture, and it's all sort of dumped on you. And you feel it's not safe to be yourself. And actually my husband's just come down and he's sitting across from me, and he's not spiritual. He is in a way, but he wouldn't maybe own that. But even now he's sitting there, and I can feel myself not really wanting to open up in front of him, although he knows probably all of this over the years. So it's amazing how even somebody's proximity can actually, he's now going to leave. He's apologized. I know he's coming back in a minute. But you can feel that the constriction that I just felt. That's interesting. Okay, so it's a physical thing, isn't it? So it's like somebody's there that you know you don't really want to open up totally about what you do. And there's a fear, that physical, and it's emotional, and it's yes, and it's spiritual as well. You're almost cutting off the flow of what you're being given, what's available to you. Yeah, so me using my identity and my name, and it's probably very good that he's coming back down, and he'll probably hear me talking more as we go along. But this has really come up this week with people who, you know, we might still be going through a really tough period, actually, where we're being called to be something, but we're really still resisting it, and we can't quite see the vision of what we're being given, and we don't really want to see it, to be honest. We don't want to let it in. We don't want to actually have to be who we truly are. And I'm just being sort of told, you will survive this. You will survive this. So I don't know if this will resonate with lots of people. I'm guessing, in that either you're going through something, you've had I like to call it a breakup rather than a breakdown, because I always say, you know, when I was forced to confront my grief, I sort of broke up, I split open, and actually that allowed the light to come in, and actually the light that was in me to come out as well. So if you're going through something which feels like chaotic and out of your control, and you feel helpless, like, all I can say is just try and stay balanced as much as you can, because there will be something in this that's happening for you. What else might you be surviving? Yeah, it's like if you make the decision to use your true identity, like I have done even in the last couple of weeks, last week particularly, like you will survive. You will survive. If you're being called to be your true self now, you are ready to be your true self. It's taken me a long time. I admit, it's taken me years to actually speak out about my beliefs, what I truly do, and who is my guide, who's my sort of leader, I guess, in spirit, or who has mentored me. But like, this is a time for new solutions and new beginnings. And with this sun that's at its brightest now, like you can borrow strength from the sun, like drink in all the masculine solar energy, and really determine to be your true self. Now, I'm just going to, I think there's going to be a meditation in here. I think I'm going to lead a meditation about your name, maybe like your true identity, like I am the finder of lost things. Maybe there's going to be a meditation in here in a minute, but I'm first going to tell you this story about the wide-eared fox, how he stole fire. And obviously it's a story. It's full of metaphor. You'll take out what you need from it. But just be aware what we're talking about. That the forgetting of our true identity, and the fire, as I said before, is where all stories start, which is actually how the story starts. So Michael's in the desert with the nomads, and he's watching the fire, and he's watching, he's sort of gazing into the flames, and he's seeing images dancing there. And he says, it's like there's stories being woven in front of my eyes. And the guide says to him, fire is where all stories start. So Michael asks, well, where does fire come from? And the guide says, the wide-eared fox stole it from the giants. Didn't you know that? And Michael says, no, go on, tell me more. So he says, this is the story. He says, there's in the distant time when men and animals still spoke the same language and could become each other. So like shape-shifting. There was no fire then, and people ate their food without cooking. And on cold nights, they shivered. The only beings who had the fire were the giants. And they lived in a far-off mountain called Fire Mountain, which had been stung by lightning scorpions and so had fire. But the children could see the fire smoking from far away, but no one could get near enough to the mountain because it lay across a wide desert called the Plain of Forgetting. Many had tried to cross it, but by the time they reached the other side, they had forgotten why they had come. So they lay down and died. One day, the wide-eared fox came along. He saw that they were suffering and told them that he would cross the Plain of Forgetting to Fire Mountain and steal fire for them. How will you remember why you're there? They asked. All those who have tried so far have forgotten and have died. Fox asked his friend Hawk how he could stop himself forgetting. Hawk, who was wise, told him that near Fire Mountain he would find a tall tarout tree, and on the lowest branch of the tree there would be a tree mushroom. And if he ate some of the mushroom, his memory would be restored. So the wide-eared fox trotted off across the Plain of Forgetting, and as he trotted, he could see the smoke rising from Fire Mountain. On and on he ran as the sun rose 3 times, and on the morning of the 3rd day, he found himself near the mountain. By that time, though, he was so tired, hungry and thirsty that he could no longer remember why he was there. He lay down, thinking it would be very restful to sleep in the desert. He had just closed his eyes when he heard the chattering of ants beneath him, and soon they emerged from their burrows, saying, "Don't sleep, brother fox. You must go to the tarout tree and eat some of the tree mushroom." So the wide-eared fox got up and came to the tarout tree, where he found the mushroom growing on the lowest branches. He broke off some of it and ate it, and remembered that he was there to steal fire from the giants. Just then he heard the voices of the giants bellowing above him and saw the smoke from their fire. He climbed up the mountain till he saw the fire blazing in a 3-stone hearth. There were 3 giants, mother, father, and daughter. All 3 had massive heads and claws instead of hands. As the fox watched, he heard father shout in his booming voice, "We must not allow humans to have fire, for then they will be as we are." The 3 giants danced round the fire in exultation. Fox was afraid, but he braced himself. He sauntered to the fire and calmly sat down. The giants glared at him fiercely, but in the end they said, "That's only a fox. We do not have to worry about a fox." They went on dancing and dancing until until they became exhausted and fell down. Then, quick as a flash, the wide-eared fox dipped his tail in the embers so that the tip caught fire. At that moment, the giants smelled the burning fur and awoke. They saw what the fox was doing and let out great bellows of rage. The fox ran for it and dashed down the mountain with his tail on fire. The giants leaping afterwards in great strides, roaring. Father came so close that he grabbed the fox's tail with his claw. In that instant, though, Hawk swooped out of the sky and picked up the wide-eared fox in her talons. She had followed him and had watched the goings-on from a distance. Leaving the raging giants far below, Hawk flew high in the sky and across the desert to the place of the humans. They were singing and dancing as the fox presented them with the stolen fire. From that day on, no human needed to suffer the cold, and they could cook their food instead of eating it raw. Not the wide-eared fox, though. He was punished for his impudence by never being able to use the fire. And always after that, he had a dark tip on his tail where the fur had been burned. I kind of read that and thought that was a bit unfair on the fox after he'd brought humans the fire, and then he got punished. But there you go. So I hope you've got something out of that. I'm not going to make it obvious what I think it's all about, but you will have got something from that, I'm sure. And I have done previous meditations actually as part of our grief walk course, where I've been working with the creator, who I would now name to you as Isis. And she has always shown me the fire as a seed in your belly. And that seed, that fire, is your true identity, is the real you. It's like when people meet you, they will often ask you straight away, and you will ask other people, who are you? What do you do? What's your name? What do you do? And you'll normally mention your occupation or your label. And we've talked about this so many times before, but that is not your true identity. I can almost guarantee that most people in this world are not using their true identity. They are using a label. They're using something that is socially acceptable. And I think part of what Christian and I want to do is to totally blow that up. That you can be, Christian was socially acceptable in his way, which we've talked about before in many episodes, but we would really like to blow that up, really, that so that you can be your true identity, be who you truly are, and be that fire that burns inside you. And those stories do begin with the fire. Why, what are you passionate about? What do you really get excited about talking about? What do you get excited about sharing with people? That's like the fire, really, the passion. But as I've said before, there's so much fear around that, and there's this huge thing about the fear of abandonment. So if you stand up and say who you are, I always thought, this was me even a year ago, I thought I would stand up and say who I am and people would just like scatter away like rats off a sinking ship, I think is the expression. And that, I'd suddenly have no friends. People wouldn't speak to me. My family would get targeted. all those sorts of fear about of then being like on my own and not being able to like be truly who I am, you know, like being shamed into not being truly who I am. And all I can say is that like you will survive this, you will come out and you will be who you truly are. And you, by doing that, other people can see you and then they'll go, oh yeah, I want what she's got. Or, oh wow, yeah, no, I had a dream, and I had a dream. Somebody I've just talked to, actually, they've been given this image of a fire in meditation. So I'm like, oh well, that really fitted in with the few little pieces I was given today about the fire. So it's really uncovering your story, and you might find that your story goes runs very, very deep, and it runs ancestrally and in past lives. So there'll be things that have been handed on through your family. If you don't know your family history, and that's a clouded area that you're really intrigued, actually. I think as we get older, we get more and more interested in our family and our identity. And I've talked to people this week, actually, who don't know anything about their family history, and it's kind of been not talked about, and they are so intrigued by it. There's something in there for them. So I don't know if that's resonating with some people as well, that digging around to that digging that your family don't really want you to do. And that you need to do. All I can say is do it, because the more that things are trying to be covered up, the more they need to be exposed. I suppose I can hear like the secrets and the guilt and the shame around, and this hurts so many people. Guilt and shame around stories, around things that have happened in families, and the truth sets you free. Like, I know that I've experienced that. In fact, all our story is about the truth being free. And once you know the truth of a situation, there's no longer darkness, and you can kind of deal with what's in front of you, and you can make your decision. So you come from an empowered decision. You make a choice based on the information that you find. But a lot of the time, what has been covered up is actually the key to healing and key to transformation, and the key to not taking it forward through the next generations. There's a lot in here for probably a lot of the audience. There's a lot here. Okay, there's a lot here about evolving. Okay, this transformational energy of the sun, of the time that we're in. You know, we're just coming towards actually the end of what I would term the flowering time. And we actually go into, I think the next time is the sort of the abundance time, like the real fruity, juicy part of the year, when everything's in full fruiting and abundance. Like, how amazing would that be for you to be in that state and actually really reaping the benefits of it and really enjoying it? Like, I'm just being told there's no time to waste. If you don't do it now and take that leap, or dig the dirt, or light the fire, it's going to be really difficult to do later in the year, because now all the energies, the natural energy, the earth energy is all into building at this time and fruiting. And if that's frightening, because of course it's fearful, we're programmed as it is a human body to be looking after ourselves and fearful of attack and fearful of things that are going to jump out at us, and fear of the unknown and everything like that. But that's how you keep yourself caged. And there's only a few little tweaks that you have to do. I'm being shown the eagle again. We talked about the eagle last week. A brilliant thing to do is to rise up like the eagle. And actually, I had the eagle today in one of my personal cards, like illuminate, is illumination of the situation. What is the truth of what you're experiencing now, and that like that niggle that you keep being given, that sort of feeling that you're being nudged. You might be getting dreams, you might be getting physically nudged. I had somebody reminded me this week, actually, I used to hear knocking in dreams. I used to hear like somebody knocking on the door, and that was something waiting to come out or wanting to be heard. And I think you just have to lift yourself above the fear. I think you really do. And I think that is a practice that gets stronger and stronger. So when you make a little step forward, little step forward, and you're like, oh, okay, that's okay, you start building in confidence. And if things come at you, because people don't like you changing. In fact, in a lot of cases, they'll do anything in their power to stop you changing, to stop you evolving. Because if you evolve, it would mean that they could evolve if they put their mind to it. But there are lots of people who don't want to change, or it's not their time to change. I wasn't ready to face my grief. I wasn't ready to change how I was dealing with life at all. And I was that was the right place for me at the time. So I do believe we are all in the right place at the right time for us. Whatever situation we've got, it's the right time. So you can't say to somebody, you have to change because I'm changing. That's just not how it works. But as you change, other people will look at you and go, oh, okay. There's an energy shift, or oh, you suddenly look like you're glowing. You suddenly look like you've expanded, you've evolved. And actually, I do want to do that. And that's how you change. That's how you influence, how that ripple of what you do to change yourself, how that goes out to other people, which is what I've been really experiencing this week, actually. So there's a evolution. We all have to evolve. We can't change. We can't stay the same. Look, that life doesn't do that. And we're not supposed to do that either. We all have to evolve. We're all here for a purpose. We're all here to learn and to grow and to expand, like expansive. And sometimes we don't want to expand and evolve, and that's okay. That's okay. But I think at this time of year, we are all being asked to. And we only need to look at, I'm being shown like frogs, tadpoles turning into frogs at this time of year. That's just part of the natural process. That's how it's supposed to be. So yeah, sort of take that leap and try to soften the fear down. You have to acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge it and to take the hand of fear and say, it's okay. Thank you for pointing this out to me and for protecting me, but I'm going to do this anyway. And this is where Christian comes in, or your guides, or whoever you have in the spiritual realm who's there for you, because you all do have guides and loved ones. Just ask them for help, ask them for their support and their guidance, and then open and then listen to it. And if you're, I think for me as well, the process of evolution is a slow journey, and there's lots of layers to it. So you'll get to one layer, so that you'll shed one skin, I guess, and then evolve and grow, and then there'll be a rest time where you acclimatize to your new body and your new energetic state, and then okay, I feel comfortable now, so then we'll go up. So it's always a question of like reaching and stretching and growing, but at your own space, and in your own space and in your own time, and to not compete with other people, and not social media is terrible for that. You sort of see what everyone's doing and you think, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, but actually the only thing you should be doing is actually listening to your heart and listening to what's ready in you to create, to evolve. And there's no space for competition, like your own space. And an altar is a really good way. So I'm going to be talking here about creating space. So for me, creating space means actually a physical place to sit, or to be out in nature, to go for a walk to a particular place, to a spot where you feel very at home and held and supported. If you haven't found that place yet, I encourage you to go and seek it out. It could be a sacred site, it could be some woodland, it could be by the sea, it could be I'm sure you know of your special place, the places where you feel comfortable. Like, say if you go on holiday and you're like, oh, this is just the place where I need to be. Obviously we can't travel as much as we were doing, but so you need to find it closer to home, and that could be you need to seek it out. But also it could be as simple as like I saw a beautiful picture actually, from someone I follow and a friend actually on Instagram, and she had her altar just on the wall, and it was a circle shape with just some shelves, but it was on the wall, and I thought, oh, it was so beautiful and sort of safe, space saving as well. So she had candles and cards and crystals and a flower and things like that, which is what I have. I because when I was first started doing this, I was, my husband being in here, he's now gone, but I felt constricted. So I had a very small little area that was just mine, of maybe a candle, and then it was just a few bits and pieces, maybe a bits of jewelry, something of Christians, and that was just a really nice space where I could just sit in front of that for a little time during the day, just to make space. It was almost like I lit a candle and that was my sacred space. But you might find your sacred space when you are doing an activity. It could be, running, swimming, where you find your peace. And even in the shower, I get so many, it's like lightning in the shower. You just suddenly I get phrases or things that come into my head in the shower. So I guess part of my, in a busy household, part of my creating space is actually just having a shower, which is all part of the routine as well anyway. But it's just finding that space and making room for your dreams to be able to come through to you, and to be able to listen to what's trying to come through to you. And like allowing, like releasing stuff so that you have space. So releasing toxic ideas, toxic thoughts, maybe toxic people from your life, and just trusting that by doing that, by clearing space, it could just be like decluttering a cupboard or decluttering a desk. You know, it just allows the space for grace to come in. And we talked in the first show actually about big magic and how all these ideas are up there waiting to come into you, and then for you to express them. So you have to be clear to be able to receive those. So I suppose like clearing up your computer desktop, or sorting out your finances, or at least looking at a statement and knowing your financial you know, where your finances are, at least that then gives you some clarity and some space for other things to come in. I always find just working with tarot cards is amazing. Tarot cards just really cut to the chase. And you might be thinking that you are feeling a certain way, or some issue is there for you, and then you'll do a tarot reading, or to even just pick a card for the day, and it'll be something that you weren't expecting, and you'll be like, yes, actually that is the root of all of this. So tarot is a brilliant way of having that clarity. And then journal writing, I do that, free writing, and that involves just clearing the space and getting the ego out of the way, getting the chatter out of the way, and then just letting whatever's ready to come out through your writing. And yeah, you're worthy, and it like create some space, like give yourself some space, even if you're in a busy household and you've got you know, you've got children, you've got work, family, you know, you've got all these obligations on top of you. Make some space for yourself, even if it's just like a candle. And rest as well. Like, we're all great at being really busy, aren't we? Really busy, but that doesn't allow the inspiration to come in. And it might be like me, you have your inspiration in the shower in the mornings or the evenings or whenever, but out of a busy day, it's so important to carve a bit of space. But we're told that all the time, aren't we? We're told that all the time, but actually in the heat of family life and working from home, and it's even more important to carve out that space, even if it's just getting out the door. But if you're feeling uncomfortable with something at the moment, know that on the other side of it, there is the evolution, there is the growth. And don't hold back from it. Don't try and control it. Just sort of lean into it. Christian and I, we did this. We had this image. So I've told you about us as eagles, and we have come together in this one eagle body. And Christian, and then we've also been in a dolphin body because of our Lemurian connection, if you've been listening over the weeks. And we actually, Christian said to me, look, we can't be as animals anymore, Han. We've really got to be we've really got to walk properly in the human form now, because that is how we are going to fulfill our purpose. Okay, where we've been very privately, now we're in the public eye, and we need to be walking as the humans. And he actually showed me about facing what's coming towards us, because it is coming. I can feel it. I've been talking about this through the months, but I do feel it's close again. And he showed me like being a surfer over the waves. So you're not getting into the wave, you're on the top of the wave, and it's a freeing and a joyful thing. I mean, you've watched surfers, and maybe you surf, and the thrill you experience and the freedom you experience when you're actually I don't know what the term is, but when you're flowing with the wave and you're riding the wave, that's the feeling that Christian and I have now. And I hope it's coming across now, because it's a really joyful and freeing feeling. And if you want to join us on the boards, riding the waves, the only way to do it is to evolve. There's no other way of, there's no shortcut to doing to being your true self and being your sort of like true identity. There's literally no shortcut. So I think maybe what we're going to do, we're going to try a little meditation for, we haven't got a huge amount of time, so hopefully, I mean, I'm guided, so we're going to be fine. But what are we going to do? Okay, identity. We're going to go in search of your true names. Now, I should say, what are we going to say? We like, you might not hear a name while you're doing this meditation, but keep open to it. It could be you're doing a branding exercise at the moment. I'm rocking, which is the flow. So if you're doing a branding exercise, or you're trying to find your true self, or you're like really tired of living a lie, and you've got this niggle, just I invite you now just to close your eyes. You might, and just see what you get. Just open and relax into it. And if you're ready to be given a name, or remember your identity, remember that plane of forgetting. You know, if it's the time for you to start remembering, like, this is the time. So if you just want to just relax and close your eyes and take some breaths. Okay, I'm just going to invite you to step onto the pathway that's ahead of you. Okay, if you look down, you'll see a lit pathway running ahead of you. Now you'll see it's in a straight line. This is your truth. This is your clarity. This is what's in front of you. It might be that you can't see it at the moment, but it's there. And you're being pulled and called to step onto this pathway. And I'm feeling resistance. There might be resistance in that. But just breathe and soften, and know that you've got a cheerleading group around you. They might be unseen, they might be unheard, but by goodness, they're there. They're willing you to step forward onto this path. They're willing you to accept the path that's ahead of you. They want to show you little signs, little whisperings to guide and help you. You will start receiving these. You have to nod your head in agreement to receive these. You have to just take the deep breath and nod your head. And take those first faltering steps. But as you do, the light that's on the path actually leads to the light of your soul. So if you look up from the path, in the distance, you can see your soul. You might see it as colors, you might see it as energy, but you can feel it drawing you. You can feel your body moving towards it. There's no way that you can stop the pull. So the easiest thing and the only thing you need to do is to put that foot on the path and allow yourself to be drawn forward. The light is your true self. It holds the gifts and skills that you are desiring to remember. Those gifts and skills are there to be remembered. They are there for the picking. You came here to remember them. They're all inside you, but visually it might feel easier to see them ahead of you. So all you need to do is walk. It might be that you get entangled in forests, in briars along the way, but don't ever let those fears and the thoughts of others stop you from continuing. Find a way round those fears or just slash straight through them. Don't let your energy be sapped. Don't let your energy be stagnant. If need be, rise up and fly over the brambles and the jungle. See the light ahead. Get that clarity, get that north, your true north, and just keep going. Eventually you'll get there. And when you get there, you'll realize all that light was inside. You just had to walk to it. And once you have that light inside, feel it in your body, feel it in your belly, feel that fire in your belly, feel it lifting your energy up. You might get angry. That fire might give you anger that you haven't found your fire before now, but that's okay. Now you've found it, you can use it. You can use that passion. You can discover what you're really here for, who you really are. And then stand in that light and stand proud and stand tall and tell people who you are. And people will respond. You will attract people. And just put your shoulders back. The slings and the barbs won't hurt you. Let them fall away. Lift your head up and be proud of who you are. We've been waiting for you. We've been waiting for you to show yourself. And now you're here, we celebrate. And you celebrate yourself. You celebrate what you've come here to do. You celebrate your mission. You celebrate what you've come here to achieve, what you've become. And you walk in beauty this time. You follow the path with heart and you walk in beauty. You find freedom. Just feel that freedom and that stature you have when you have your identity and you know who you are, and dig your feet into the dirt. Stick in the roots and grow tall from there. Just feel the energy in your body, what that feels like. Visualize what you're doing. Are you speaking? Are you singing? Are you creating? Are you painting? Are you writing? Are you leading? This is all there for you. You just need to evolve gradually, take the little steps, and in time you will be there. Just take some breaths here. And if you have tears, know that you're home. This is where you will be. This is where you want to be. This is where you desire. This is who you are. And revel in it. Celebrate it. Celebrate you. Okay, just take another few breaths. And then slowly wiggle your hands and your fingers, rub your face, and come back into the room. So that was just a really short meditation, and that was nicely on time. So thank you, my guides. So I hope you got something from that. Whether you heard your name, whether you saw, felt, whatever, but just know that over the coming week, let's say the week, if you're open, your guides will start dropping the little nuggets of gold in front of you. And yeah, watch out for your dreams, watch out for your intuition, conversations you hear, things that are coming into your sphere. I guess something else that's come into my sphere this week. So we've had eclipses this week, haven't we? We actually had the lunar eclipse as well, and the solar eclipse. And the last one was shown to me as relating to things that were happening in my life in December 2020. And that was actually when I had decided to do a podcast, and I didn't know how to do it. And then Transformation Network Radio, who I'm doing this show with, producing it, they kind of came into my awareness, and I was like, now I don't need to do anything. I just need to turn up each week, speak, and they do all the background shenanigans, all the technical stuff. So I was shown the perfect way for me to do the podcast. But alongside that, I was also shown the Finder of Lost Things circle, which I need to revive now. It's a private circle that I want to create with 21. We're looking for 21 explorers. It's going to be Christian and I running it. And I guess that meditation we've just done is I'm hearing the word showcase of the kind of thing that we will be doing within this private group. It's going to be starting in August, mid-August. If you want to know any more details about it, you just go to my website, Hannah Velten, VELTEN.online, and there's a work with us tab. And then if you scroll down, the number 3 is the Finder of Lost Things circle, and then you can find some more information there. But it's going to be an 8-week program. And yeah, we're looking for 21 intrepid explorers. So this week I was shown that I had to start that up again. I set it all up in December 2020, and it sort of fell by the wayside, which was lucky because our dog actually died over Christmas, who if you've been following the episodes, I'm sure you'll know that as well. And I just wouldn't have been in a place to support lots of other people. So the space that I'm in now with Christian, it's the perfect time for us to now relaunch that. So yeah, I suppose if you're coming to this episode in particular where we're talking about it, I'm not going to be talking about it anywhere else probably. But if you're lost, if you're needing some clarity, if you've got that niggle, if you're wanting to heal but you don't know quite how to, if you are being touched by spirit and you're finding it all rather overwhelming and quite fearful, if you're being called to journey, if you're being called to explore, if what I am talking about in this episode is like really lighting you up, then do come and join us, because it's going to be an amazing, we are calling in the people, and if you're going, oh yeah, that's me, and you're a little bit nervous, just send me an email, we can talk it through. But yeah, that's going to be for you. So anyway, next week, I do know what's happening next week, which is quite a change. I've got a beautiful lady called Sophia Christo coming on, and Sophia is going to be talking about her brother who's in spirit, and also her I think from childhood experiences and trauma and healing, and how, like me, she waited a long time to be able to heal, but she's found her own way through self-healing, and I've been part of her journey in a small way with her brother, but she's going to be coming on next week, so I can't wait to meet Sophia. She's got a smile and an energy that lights up anywhere that she is. She's amazing. So lots of love, and I'll see you next week. Okay, have a good week. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to The Finder of Lost Things. I think we've been triggered so long and so hard by COVID, and it's going to carry on. People are getting used to stillness, and they're getting used to more solitude, but how do you use that time for the highest good? This process that we're going to explore will bring back the joy and purpose to life. That wholeness, that sort of harmony and flow and togetherness. People are really ready to find their lost parts now. You can find me at hannahvelton.online.
Views expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the station, its management, or advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.